don't have an opportunity to say they won a gold medal. Better yet, 3 gold medals. I would be very happy walking away from the game knowing that I've given the game everything I have, knowing I played on a high level at every level, high school, college, won a championship in college, of course, at Syracuse, and possibly 3 gold medals. I can look back on it when my career is over if I don't have an NBA championship ring and say I had a great career. Stephen A., here's the question. Does Carmelo actually believe what he's saying?
No, he doesn't. But it doesn't matter. I must admit this is one of, maybe not the hardest, but this is one of the hardest topics that I've ever had to embrace here on First Take, in my career doing First Take, which is now entering its 4th year. I love me some Carmelo Anthony. I've known him for many, many years. I know a lot of things about him professionally, a lot of things personally. He's a good brother, and I got a lot of love for him. And I'm biased in favor of him a lot of times because of the things that I know. I've never been more disappointed in words that come out of his mouth than what I heard yesterday. First of all, Carmelo Anthony probably has no clue how he came across saying what he said. He doesn't realize that he just gave Knicks fans a reason to return their season tickets or to give back or to ask for their money back. Anybody who brought a season package or 10-game package or anything like that, he doesn't realize what he just did. You are a star in this league. You are in the midst of a $122 million contract, okay? Part of the reason, one of the main reasons New York Knicks fans support this team is because you are here. And you can make such an egregious statement like this. It is unbelievable. Now, there's no one with sense that's going to disagree with me about how unwise it was for Melo to say that. But they may disagree with me as to how impactful this is. You essentially gave critics a reason to believe winning's not a priority for you. That you're satisfied with gold medals when you beat up on China or Brazil, or you escape against Australia with Patty Mills and Andrew Bogut leading the way. That's enough for you. That's enough for you. But you drafted in the same draft class as LeBron James. LeBron James went #1 overall. Aside from Darko Milicic at #2, it was Carmelo who went at #3 overall. How in God's name could you sit up there in the same class as Bosh, it's the same class as D. Wade? How in God's name could you sit up there? Your 13th year in the league, having played in only 1 conference finals, having never played in an NBA finals, having one of your best friends that's been to 7 NBA finals, having won 3. One of your best friends having played in 5 NBA finals, having won 3. You never even had an appearance. And you're saying it's cool? It's all right? I can still look back on my career and think I had a great career. In what damn world could you possibly say such a thing? Whether it's barbershops, barbecues, cats hanging out, chilling, talking basketball. Melo, who is from the streets of Baltimore and from the streets of New York, who knows how the street rolls, is looking at him and saying, what the hell did you just say? Did you just say that? For national publications? To be aired nationally? What the hell is that? I cannot believe that. I cannot believe that he would say something like that. I know Melo. I know how much he wants this, how hard he works, what a big-time baller he truly is. And I know that brother got the heart of a lion. But this quote eradicates all of that. It's me standing alone, and LeBron and those who know Melo standing alone by ourselves, having to vouch for him, because anyone who does not know him would not believe in him after reading a quote like this. I cannot believe he allowed himself to give this kind of quote. It's insane, and it's very disappointing. I cannot believe he said this.
Well, I can't argue with that point. Because you just read that quote, you go, damn Melo, damn Carmelo, you know. But the question for me is, does he believe it? Now, Stephen A., you said you think he doesn't believe it, and you have relationships with various players, including Carmelo Anthony. So when you say that, that's based on more information than, for example, I have about it, more intimate information. However, know a little something about psychology. Listen, rationalization, when guys rationalize, that is a powerful kind of self-deluding mechanism. Carmelo Anthony, I think, does believe this, Stephen A. How can he live with his career if he doesn't? So he tells himself, if I get I won a college championship, if I get 3 gold medals, oh, well, the NBA fight, I just didn't have good enough teammates, and that's good enough. I think he does believe it, but I have something else that I want to disabuse people, I think especially you of, Stephen A. And after going at Buck Showalter a little bit earlier, now I got to go, I got all the New York sports icons. Carmelo Anthony is not nearly as big a deal as you think he is, Stephen A. He's a great scoring player. I think his resume it's fair to question whether he is, on what level of greatness he actually operates on as a player. I think players tend to overrate Carmelo because other players understand what he does is incredibly difficult. To master every facet, and you went through it very articulately the other day, to master every facet, not of offense, but of scoring, to the extent that he has, it's difficult to master any one of those facets. He's mastered all of them. So other players look at him and marvel because they know he does extremely difficult things better than just about anyone ever, and they mistake that for thinking because they're difficult to do and he's mastered them and there are a lot of things that he can do, that means he's a great NBA player or an NBA player on the uppermost level, a top 5 type player, when right now he's not even really a top 10 type player. He plays in an enormous media market. He came in the league with enormous fanfare. And as I said, he's one of the all-time great scorers. I wouldn't say offensive players, I'd say scorers. But he's not LeBron James, never has been. And in fact, if you look at their 2 careers, he's also not Dwayne Wade. Well, and you can even argue he's not Chris Bosh, ultimately. I mean, he's better than Milicic, that's for sure.
You're wrong there. Hey, he's Chris Bosh, I can tell you that. But let me say this to you. Here's where the bigger issue comes into play, Max, where we're answering the direct question, do we really think he believes this? This quote from Carmelo Anthony is something you say when you're retired and you're looking back on your career and you haven't done it. Then you can sit up there and you have no problem with the quote.
Yep.
Because why shouldn't he think positive about himself and find the silver lining in it all? The problem is he's 32. Likelihood is that he has a legit 4 or 5 years left in him if his knees hold up, because he can average 20 to 25 in his sleep. They just acquired Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah and Courtney Lee. And you have Kristaps Porzingis. And Phil Jackson is the president of basketball operations. And you're talking like an individual who does not expect to win.
Yeah.
Right.
That's where this incriminates him. And so when you look at it, look, Charles Barkley didn't win a championship. Patrick Ewing didn't win a championship. Karl Malone didn't win a championship. John Stockton didn't win a championship. There are a host of Reggie Miller didn't win a championship, etc., etc. They were striving to get there while playing. These words would have never come out of their mouth. And the fact that Melo would feel comfortable enough to say this when he's still averaging over 20 a game and in position where the Knicks are expected to make the playoffs.
So what does that mean about Carmelo,
and to hear these words come out his mouth?
What does that mean about Carmelo?
Because
does he want it bad enough? Does he want it like Patrick Ewing wanted it?
That is a legit question, which is why I said I would never hold Chris Paul accountable for not having a championship the way I hold Melo, because Chris Paul is miniature. He's more of an orchestrator, but more importantly, he's a pit bull. And when he loses, he's not comfortable to be around. He's not somebody that you can talk to. He's that ticked off. And so if you're Melo, This is how this looks. And I'm telling you right now, if you know Melo, he's a high-end competitor. He's going to come at you. He's going to try to take you out the whole bit. So for him to say this quote, it's the antithesis of who he is, but it doesn't look that way right now. It looks very bad, and I cannot believe he said this. I do not believe he believes it, but it tells me that he's lacking a belief in the Knicks, and to some degree he is lacking a belief in himself. And that is a problem.
We got to leave it there. And yes, maybe some of it, it's less about him, but it's more about the situation he's in and having to rationalize that it might not happen with that team, even though he wants it to. When we come back, you don't want to miss Stephen A's reaction to Ricky Williams' excuse why he isn't in the Hall of Fame. That discussion.